Welcome back to Wall Street Confidential, where we are going through some of Jim Cramer's 20 new rules for investing straight out of the pages of Stay Mad for Life. Hi, Jim.
Brittany.
Another lesson that you've given in your experiences through running ActionAlertsPlus.com is try to play with the house's money.
Right. I all too often, people say to me, Jim, should I take profit? Should I take profit? Should I take profit? And I have a lot of conflicting disciplines, and I think a lot of people also never want to hear that there's conflicting disciplines. There's either right or wrong. It's not. It's gray. But I like to let things ride that are really good, but I also don't like to be greedy. So what's the intersection between that greed and let things ride? Well, there is one moment, and that's where you have sold until all that you have left is what you never put in. So if you put in $1,000, it gets to $2,000. You can take out your $1,000. And then the rest of it is the house's money. And that is where I then tell people, I don't want to hear about the stock anymore. There's only one time in my whole panoply of investing where I do not worry, and that's after I've taken out all of my money and I play with the house money, let it ride. And that's how the biggest gains occur. And people would say, well, Jimmy, it could be reckless. It could go to zero. I said, well, it doesn't matter. I got all my money back.
There you go.
You know, if you really feel that way, then take out 10% of the house's money. But that's the nirvana moment. And when you get it, you must not sell. You must not sell, because you're at that moment where you are finally in a risk-free situation to get max reward. And that's how it's always risk-reward, and that's the moment.
And so hard. Are people tempted?
Well, people they'll like a stock. I mean, a lot of times people call me and I say take a little off the table. Apple computers, good example. I recommended Apple at 80, goes to 180. Okay, so people say, well, do you like Apple? I said, yes. He said, well, then why are you telling us to take something off the table? I said, well, remember, there's people who came in at 80. I have to be sensitive to where people came in. One of the difficult jobs I have, both in real money, in stock picker, and in mad money, the show is I have a record of where I recommend things. So if you call me and say, Jim, thank you, I bought Research Promotion at 70 and it's at 200, okay, or it's at 100, but because it's split. What should I do? And I said, well, don't be greedy. Take some off. Next guy calls and says, Jim, I don't own any Research Promotion. Do you like it? Yes, I like it. So people say, well, hold it. This guy's speaking with forked tongue. No, I mean, these are conflicting disciplines. I believe very strongly that bulls make money, bears make money, and hogs get slaughtered. And you're being a hog if you've taken nothing off. That said, also, when I look at the universe of stocks I like, Research in Motion is on it. So, and I don't know that. I mean, I'm using Research in Motion. I should be using Apple. Research will report it'll be good or bad. But what I'm just saying is that if you have a big gain and you haven't taken anything off, well, you're being a pig. But it may very well be a good stock. Now, a lot of times on ActionAlertsPlus.com, I'll be selling, and people say, Jim, I thought you liked Freeport. Why are you selling? Well, I said, well, listen, I bought some at 69. It's at 120. I'd be a fool not to sell. But I thought you liked it. Well, no, you have to recognize one's portfolio management and one is investment decisions. And portfolio management and investment decisions can, at times, be at odds with each other.
Okay, and speaking of that point right there, the next lesson you give is actually a reversal of a lesson you gave in Jim Cramer's Real Money, is never turn an investment into a trade.
Right. A lot of times what will happen is that someone will say, or I will say, look, I really like natural gas here. I'm going to buy a natural gas company. Because I think that over the next 3 years, whoever's president is going to emphasize natural gas because nuclear's too hard, coal's too dirty, and oil's too Middle East. So I'll buy it, and then a week later, there'll be a spike in natural gas because of the drawdown. So we'll get the Thursday natural gas number to show that a lot of natural gas was used. Stock will go up 3 points. I take it. Well, no. You bought it because you think over a multi-year period, natural gas will come back in vogue and the stock could double or triple. But instead, I turn it into a trade. And that's the thing that I see a lot of people doing because they think they're hedge fund managers. Again, going back to that other rule, you're not a hedge fund manager. Let it ride if your original theory continues to play out.
Don't get stuck in that short-term
Right.
thinking. And another lesson, trust your instincts, not your friends.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times guys will lean on me and say, look, Jim, I've got a really great story. I don't even speak to CEOs anymore before they come on because it's so often that they're trying to jawbone me. And there have been a bunch of instances where there have been people who've used me and told me, listen, we're friends and this is really good. And I know that most people don't have those kinds of relationships, but there'll be very often where what I'm saying is be skeptical about anyone who tells you something's good because that person won't be there when it goes bad, and that person is self-interested, or that person doesn't really have your interest at heart. He has his interest at heart.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Stay with us as we keep going through more insight from Stay Mad for Life. You're watching Wall Street Confidential.